Hey everyone, and welcome back to Zoo Sicily with a very spontaneous and special build. So I did not intend to build what you're seeing on screen right now, but here's the story. So I do have an idea what we will build in the center of this area, but for some odd reasons, my whole body and my ideas and my brain, they were just kind of moved over into this area over here, which is always been intended to be like a little bit of a river area, but yeah, I saw some pictures and I was like doing a bit of research and I saw all these pictures of a little river line in somewhere in Sicily. I just really don't know where. I just googled some pictures of Sicily and nature and stuff like that, and I came across this very, yeah, I think it's really the core Mediterranean type of river area with all these kind of white gray stones, and you've got a bit of cacti over there and just like very clear blue water, and then you got a bit of foam because like the water's quite pressurized. I'm not sure if that's even the right word, but like there's a lot of movement in the water because it's just like meandering through all these stones, because literally the stones are kind of the pipework in which the river is going, so it's not like really open with a lot of like riversides. It just really has this kind of narrow river line, and I thought, that's so beautiful, and I wanted to see if I can make this in Planet Zoo. So that was just kind of the intention. Now we have to talk about the animals that go in. I mean, if you have read carefully in the title or wherever, you'll already know that there is the small clawed otter in here. However, it is obviously, it's meant to be like the European like river otter, which technically would be the more realistic one to be in here, but simply because we don't have it in the game, I went for the small clawed otter, simply because I found the giant otter with its being like even more like tropical than the small clawed otter, well, is as well, but I thought, as like a combination to the river otter, that made a bit more sense, and so I went with that one. I also, in addition, have the red-crowned crane in there. Again, the red-crowned crane is not meant to be the perfect animal for this area, but I wanted to have like some birds in there, like something that would realistically live in that area. Now, I will say at this point already that I am mega happy about the outcome of how it looks. However, there are a couple of things where I will need your opinion on, and so, make yourself ready now to type a comment, because that's very important to me. I sailed out with this series to build rather realistic and make it working for the animals. So spoiler, the habitat is pretty much going for both. I managed to give them, the adequate like terrain and requirements. Everything that they need is fulfilled because it's quite a long and large habitat. But one thing that is not fulfilled in my mind is it's not like this typical kind of zoo build habitat. It looks a lot more like nature. And I had a very long debate with myself if that makes sense or not, because this might be one of the sole habitats that are not really made of the ground. They are basically just kind of made into what existed already. So I thought maybe this is actually an existing river that has been here before the zoo was built, and they just took it and kind of converted that into a habitat for these animals. Not sure if that makes sense, because obviously you would need to add all the kind of pipe work for making sure that the water is always in the right conditions. You always would need to make sure that the nature is kind of cleaned off from its existing animals that live in there. I don't know, I wish I could have just done this as like an existing river, but the problem is we just simply don't have the animals for that. We don't have fish in the game. We don't have like smaller kind of birds that would live in this area. I wish we had like, taken the new exhibit with the bats, for example. Just imagine we have some more bird variants of it. I could have easily hit that in here and make this area look like as if there were like a lot of birds flying around and stuff. I just want to give this area a bit of life, and this is why I decided to make it into a habitat. But I can definitely see that it might kind of, go a little bit against the idea of the overall zoo being a very intentional and man-made and planned out zoo. Granted, if that's like a planned out habitat, that would be potentially one of the most expensive habitats ever built in a zoo, because I just literally got in here and built like an entire like river area, and it's gonna all lead into a big waterfall that is feeding down into the lake area, or well, technically that should be the sea, but as we still don't have a kind of a wonderful background that is the sea, the open sea. I mean, we do have one, but that's too small, as I thought about, and all the skin variants we got, like the skirts, unfortunately do not have a open sea variant. So you know, when they said that we got some new map skirts, I really thought we are going to get one, because there is literally one in the game, in the campaign mode. There is one existing, so I was really hoping that we get that. Obviously we didn't, and so I don't need to convert the project over. At that state, at the very early stage of early access I got, there was still enough time to convert it over, because I still only had the entrance done and just a couple of little things, so I could have made this all into one gigantic habitat and then put on the other map and do a bit of terraforming to, you know, bring it in, but that was just never needed. Also, a quick little note to my voice. You will notice that my voice still is pretty nosy, and maybe we are going to have to deal with it for maybe not forever, but for a long time, simply because as I said, we all got COVID, and it seems that I have a bit of a longer time period in front of me in terms of COVID, because it seems like I got some long COVID out of it. Yay, which mostly leads into some problems with my nose and some breathing issues. I have to see how it works with sports, for example. That has been always the danger, and it seems unfortunately that I am one of those people suffering from long COVID. Gotta have to see how that is gonna turn out, but yeah, early investigations into why I still can't get my nose freed or whatever seems to be, you know, related to that. But you know, I'm doing, well, don't get me wrong, I'm doing totally fine. I'm completely back to 100%. It's just that my voice is not getting back, and I still have some issues with my nose. It's like every evening it's gonna be very stiffy, and yeah, it's annoying. But you know, there is a lot worse that could have happened, so I'm quite happy with how I feel, but we have to deal with a bit of a different voice first of all. I do hope though that in a couple of weeks, hopefully, it might have been, it might be better, which I can't tell. It's very annoying. You feel super good, but then you have this nose all the time. Has been a little issue. Anyways, let's not talk too much about my nose. I mean, it's a big one, and there's plenty of space to talk about. Sorry, that was yeah. But I guess we have to talk about this over here, because I'm quite proud of how this turned out in the end. We have this underwater viewing area of the river. Now, again, this is something that has been a little bit problematic for me to build, because it just didn't feel right at the beginning, but I feel like I have found a solution to make it really look good. Also, one thing I have to mention, because many of you guys will now sit in front of your screen and scream at it, how I'm able to edit the terrain even though the path has already been done, and even more how I can put path on the path. Now, free build has been released again. The mod called free build is released for the newest version of Planet Zoo, and it has a ton of new features, and it's, you know, it became the most important mod for this game. I think in over 3 years of Planet Zoo, there has never been a mod that was 100% required to play the game, because all the mods were like customization options and blah blah blah. But I would say that free build has become so essential that it is a must-have mod from this day on. There are so many new features that improve the quality of this game dramatically. They solve most of the issues with path building entirely. Like, don't get me wrong, we all know how finicky the path system is, but let alone free build would make the path system 100% better. It's not perfect by any means, but it's gotten 10 times better. Simply the fact that you can edit the terrain afterwards is just so cool, because you just like plop down the path where you want to have it and then adjust it to exactly the angle you want to have it. It's looking so much more natural. You can do so many things, as you can see over here. I can just slap some terrain in, and all of a sudden, not terrain but path, and all of a sudden you can put it. Also, you'll have noticed maybe right now, I was able to manipulate the angle of the benches. That's something that comes with free build as well. You can now edit every single piece in the game with the gizmo. That means even grid pieces and stuff are able to be manipulated in a wonderful way. Yeah, this is one thing I have to address real quick as well. I still have one major issue with the build, and that is the fact that the staff members are basically unable to reach anything in this area. Still haven't found a solution for that. I have some ideas, but I have to see how I can make a workaround, because I just do have the entrance over here. I might have to relocate the entrance completely. I think this might be one of the solutions, or I have to build like a little bridge in this area for the staff members only. But as we all know, you can't build for the staff members only, because animals will most likely always be able to use it as well, simply because they have the smaller traversable area, and then naturally they will be able to use it as well. But I think it's fine. It's not going to be too much of an issue. And yeah, here we are now with the finishing touches of this area. I won't talk too much about it now, because I will do a little bit of a talk in the real-time part about how we are continuing with this area. This area has a very nice finishing touch now. I really love how it turned out, and it was a rather straightforward build, because I got a lot better, and I feel a lot more comfortable now with the nature and how it should look over here. I got some very good comments about the usage of plants, so I will have to adjust a couple of the plants here and there, simply because I was a little bit too much into, I like the area of Spain maybe rather than Italy. You know, it's very similar in terms of Mediterranean plants and stuff, but there are some differences I have to highlight a bit more to make it look even better. And there are some plants unfortunately we don't have in the game. I will have to find a workaround to make them be in there, because there are like some very iconic plants of these areas, and I will have to make sure that they are in here as well. So maybe I have to do some custom ones. I know that there are some cool things in the workshop, but then again, this is a series again where I will not use anything from the workshop. I just have that little thing that I want to build everything myself. However, it's time to give over to the real-time Rudy, the RRR. So enjoy that one with him, and let's cut over now. We go in the real-time part, and we can see an otter just moving over here over the little water, just moving up into this area. We can see some cranes in the background, and wow, what a jump. Yeah, so this is the area. Also see some bats flying in the background. I love it. So this is the area. This is the river area, as you can see, and I'm standing on the visitors viewing gallery, so to say. Like, this is the balcony, and as you can tell, this looks really phenomenal. There's a lot of work I have to do on this upper area, because that's gonna be where the parking lot will be. So it's all going to look a lot more like that. You haven't seen that one in the time lapse, but this is a bit of an example of how I want to fence that off. I know that a lot of people said in the comments they are not sure about how many plants I'm using, because these are like quite a lot of plants, which is true, so don't get me wrong about that. But I think from a lot of images I've seen that there are quite some areas, especially on these like rocky areas, where there is a lot of greenery on top of it. Mostly, and there's one of these things that I'm missing, and I'm still not sure how I am going to do this, is the red leander or the oleander. I'm not sure how it's in English called. I know that they're both descriptions are available, but this is basically like a very green plant with red blooming flowers, and unfortunately we don't have something like that in the game. So what I tried is to use it with some different like yellow tones in there. I'm going to show once I'm going to go out of the Teget Cam mode, or the Explore mode, how it's called right now. But yeah, you can see I got, you know, it's really, I think I really hit the nail when it comes to how it looks. And I think also the red crowned crane does work pretty well in this area. I hope that the animals are going to start spreading out a little bit more, because at this point they are just very much dense in this area. But look at that. Ooh, that looked kind of smooth though, not gonna lie. This like little jump and fly looks like, this is kind of okay, you know. I can definitely deal with these, you know, jumps. One thing I can't deal with is the fact that the water has the actual hitbox for the animals. I wish they would sink in. That's like a little bit. Anyways, you can see the animals moving very nicely over here. I will actually make sure that they'll get a lot of babies and stuff, so that there's a lot more going on in this area. I think this is going to look cool as soon as we have more animals going around. Anyhow, for the moment being, I'm just going to show you a little bit what I did in the background here. As you can see, there's like a little pit. I will make this look a bit better with some custom fences and stuff, and there will be something on this side to make it all look a bit better. At this point there, it looks a bit weird because we have the different kind of barriers and curbs, but I'm going to hide them away with some kind of stone and stuff that looks a lot better than that. And we are going to go down now. As I said, one of the things I'm rather proud of because it looks really cool. Also, there's our little lion area from the last episode. Mate, are you okay? Mate, wait, mate. Are you doing? Oh, it's, oh my god, look at that. I thought it's the other way around, and I thought what's happening with the head, but actually that looks freaking cool. Like, it looks a lot better than I expected that. It's just, wow. Okay, interesting. Anyways, let's move over, because I didn't want to show the lines, but that was just a little bit confusing. Anyhow, so once we go down here, which seems to be rather popular down here. As you can see, I just love how it's meandering down here. It really looks good. We have like a little bit of plants over here. We've got the entrance to the backstage area, which will look even better once there's like a little building done. And excuse me, see you later, guys. Yeah, once you go down, you have this very, very big viewing area. At this point, this is way too big for me. I will make this a lot smaller, but for the moment being, I think it's okay. I'm fine with it. And the more otters we have, the better it's gonna look. As you can tell, there's a lot of things I have to hide from down here. You can unfortunately see certain things that you shouldn't. So I will make this a lot better and more natural down here, so that this really looks like as if it's like a cutout of an actual river. At this point, it's like very like normal and stuff, but yeah, and as long as no one is like swimming around over here, it's looking also kind of bad. This one has to get grounded and all these kind of things, but I guess you get the idea. And then you can move up here, and again, this, I think it looks really good. Like, sometimes you don't need to do too many things. Like, a couple of little plants could be on top of it, but other than that, I think sometimes the landscape and the plants can speak for themselves. I think the angle is still quite okay. The idea was to make it also good enough for wheelchairs and strollers, even though I have to say strollers might work, but wheelchairs could be a little bit of an issue here. Yeah, let's see if I can make it even better, even though with some help they can get down. Not easily though, but they can, so hopefully that's gonna work out somehow, because the rest of the zoo is also oriented to make sure it's accessible to everyone, so that's that. And I think this is the perfect moment to jump into the freelook cam and show you around from above, because that area is kind of dope though. It's by far the biggest area. It's like almost as much space as the rest of the zoo has so far, but as soon as the lower area over here is done, I'm quite confident that that's actually going to look really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to have like a little, like actually not little, we're going to have like a waterfall area over here and like a lake down here. And this lake might actually be part of the zoo. I'm not 100% sure. And then we might have like a second stream that goes over feeding into the big water area over here. This is going to look very cool, I guess, once we have everything connected. We are going to have something on this plateau, and then, you know, imagine standing over here and then just have this beautiful view into the water areas dribbling down. I think this is going to be really, really cool once we are there. And then things like this is, you know, we are going to adjust as well, because at the moment that's too wide. There's going to be a bit more plants and stuff involved. It's gonna look good. However, let's talk about the big elephant in the room, because I wanted to do this first, and now we are in here, and this is the big chunk missing in the middle. What we are going to do over here is going to be very, very, very time consuming, but I really hope it's going to be worth it. So what I will do is I'm going to make like a very nice taverna building over here, like a very, maybe like even like a little winery, something like that, that really feeds into the Sicilian style and lifestyle. And then we are going to have a I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be the meerkat or not, but we are going to have like a integrated lowered habitat that is going to go all the way over here, meandering through all the stuff, and the restaurant is going to be interacting with this area. So I have in mind that we have certain like seating areas that are floating a little bit above the area of where, for example, the meerkats live and so on, and so people can be seated in there. So we're going to use an actual restaurant for that. They can be seated in these little pits then while looking at the animals. So obviously we have to take animals that are not super shy, so meerkats would technically work in that sense quite well, and I think they would fit this area also pretty nicely, because we do have yeah, some very nice animals in this area that are also very popular. We have the super popular lion over here. We have a very popular area over here with the otters, and just in general, I think. Also, what's going on with you guys? There is a bit of problems going on here. Get me out of here. Yeah, there you go. I'm not really sure why this is. I'm not sure if they can't go to the... Do we not have a spawner? Maybe that's... No, we do have a spawner, so that's not the problem. Yeah, I'm not going to take care of that right now. I'm going to take care of that later. Maybe this is something about the path thing. You know, if you use free build for the... Sometimes people do bug on top of a piece that is not connected, and then I can't escape. So, I don't know. I've got to figure that out. But, yeah, as I said, this area is going to be made into one, like, very nice area for... yeah, just the taverna, and maybe we are even going to have some exhibit animals in the taverna too. I will also, and that's something I have to say, I will have to somehow make this lower than it actually is. Like, we do have the problem that we will have to work with a 4-meter tall building. That's also the reason why I might have the exhibits in there. So maybe I'm also going to lower the entire building a tiny bit down. The good thing about restaurants is that you can put the tables basically anywhere, so I can raise the area then again to make it really seem not as tall as these buildings are, because it just doesn't look good. As I always try to make it like really, you know, size-wise, it should definitely be like this, a bit lower, so the entire building is like 4 meters tall. Actually, I can show you real quick. So if I'm going to put like a building down, you can see it's way taller than the rest is. But yeah, so that's about that. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I had a blast building this area. I really hope it translated into the build. As I said, it's not like fully finished because I want to wait until I make the waterfall to tie that all in. But yeah, so I think, you know, keeping it in that frame, you can definitely tell how it's looking right now. Just gonna make it a bit nicer for you now, zooming in a little. Look at that. This is the area. Really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really did enjoy it to bits. I really did enjoy it a lot. As always, if you are a fan of my work and you like the work, there are several things you can do to support me. The easiest bit, and for free, you can support my channel by joining, you know, as a subscriber. Just click the subscribe button and you are part of it, and you will also be notified when there is a video. How cool is that? Living in 2022 is brilliant. But yeah, also, if you want to have sneak peeks of my series and stuff, and actually I get better in doing that, so the members can confirm. If you want to have some actual, you know, sneak peeks and stuff, you can become a member of the channel as well, and you can use some of the emoticons in the chat if you want, or in the comments. But even better is you can see these type of things, like for example, this build has already been put to the members wall 2 days ago, so you see that a little bit early on. There's also a button down below from the video where you can click on become member. It's I used the cheapest option available if you want to, and then you get some sneak peeks and blah blah blah. That would help as well. But even better than that, you can also watch another episode and tell the YouTube algorithm that you like the stuff, and the YouTube algorithm is very thankful to push this video then into even more people's areas and timelines. So just as a little bit of a reminder at the end of the video. I don't even know why I talk so much about that. I hate it, but you know, sometimes it's a good reminder. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, buttons there. Yeah, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, everyone, and I talk to you in the next one.